Let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're tackling an incredibly frustrating spiral that, honestly, every single new programmer eventually faces. I'm talking about tutorial hell. You know the drill, right? It's that familiar loop where you finish a massive 7-hour course, you feel this huge rush of accomplishment, but the absolute second you try to build something on your own, you completely freeze. Your mind goes blank. So naturally, what do? We just queue up the next video. Well, today we're unpacking the actual science behind why this happens, and more importantly, how to break out of it for good.
Now, if you have ever felt the absolute dread of that blinking cursor of doom after finishing a boot camp or some massive online course, I want you to know we completely understand your pain. Seriously, look at this. Even folks with formal computer science degrees struggle with this exact sensation. It's like, you know the syntax, you recognize the design patterns, but when it's finally time to create something from scratch, poof. Total blank. It's a terrifying feeling, but I promise you it is completely normal.
And it turns out this feeling of inadequacy, it's not just a beginner problem at all. It is literally an industry-wide epidemic. GitHub actually found that a staggering 70% of code in software applications is just copied. 70%. We're relying so heavily on snagging other people's solutions, usually just the top answer on Stack Overflow, let's be real, that we often skip doing the heavy lifting to understand how they actually function under the hood. We're essentially stitching together applications without ever knowing how the thread works.
To fix this, research suggests we have to draw a really hard line between passive and active learning. Watching a tutorial is completely passive. Sure, it feels super productive, but the instructor is making every single architectural decision for you behind the scenes. You're just along for the ride. Active learning, on the other hand, is when you are struggling alone with a blank code editor. It's uncomfortable, it's messy, but honestly, it is the exact moment you are actually learning to think like an engineer.
Let's look at Section 1, the illusion of competence, and explore why exactly we copy-paste.
So why do we fall into this trap of Stack Overflow-driven development? Well, there are a few core psychological reasons. We're under intense time pressure, maybe we're feeling imposter syndrome, or we just want the convenience of a quick fix. But primarily, it's because instant gratification gives us a massive false sense of confidence. It's basically the Dunning-Kruger effect in action. The copied code compiles perfectly, the app doesn't crash, and bam, our brain gives us a huge hit of unearned dopamine, completely tricking us into thinking we've mastered the concept.
But, and this is a big but, there is a massive hidden cost to this superficial understanding. You really need to think of copied code as a digital Trojan horse. You might be pasting in a quick fix just to meet a deadline, but you could simultaneously be importing enormous security vulnerabilities and long-term technical debt. Just look at the 2017 Equifax breach. A single vulnerability in Apache Struts exposed the data of 147 million people. 147 million! Blind copy-pasting is exactly how those kinds of vulnerabilities sneak right into our projects.
Moving on to Section 2, the science of learning. Let's dig into how the brain actually retains coding skills.
To really understand why tutorial hell happens, we have to look at cognitive load theory. Our working memory is, well, it's surprisingly limited. It can realistically only hold between 3 and 9 elements at any given time. So think about it. When you follow a fast-paced tutorial, you are juggling, watching the instructor's screen, typing your own code, and trying to grasp the underlying logic all at once. This completely overloads the brain. It prevents those concepts from ever solidifying and transferring into your long-term memory. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose.
If we want to truly understand code, we have to ascend Benjamin Bloom's taxonomy. Guided tutorials generally keep us stuck right at step 1, at the very bottom, just remembering syntax. But to become a competent developer, we have to push our brains up that pyramid. We have to move through applying that knowledge all the way up to synthesizing and evaluating complex, multidimensional projects. And here's the kicker, folks. You simply cannot reach that evaluation stage if you've never actually built a project from scratch yourself.
That brings us to Section 3, project-based learning and active problem solving. Why is escaping this tutorial loop so urgent right now? Because we are living in an era where 76% of developers are using AI coding tools. AI can perfectly write boilerplate syntax in literally seconds. What does that mean for you? It means employers are no longer looking for mere code writers. No way. They are actively seeking problem solvers, engineers who can design complex architecture, who can evaluate that AI-generated code for flaws and make strategic trade-offs, just knowing basic syntax. It isn't enough to stand out anymore. So how do we actually start shifting to project-based learning?
Well, the real secret here is to avoid trying to build the next Facebook or some massive e-commerce platform right out of the gate. You've got to start with tiny, hyper-focused projects. The absolute best beginner projects have a single main feature, they use common UI patterns, and they have a very limited scope. Something you can easily finish in a weekend or less. Think along the lines of a simple blog preview card or maybe an interactive rating component where the success criteria are crystal clear.
Let's jump into Section 4, Question-Driven Development, or the QDD framework. How do we actually execute this without getting immediately paralyzed in front of a blank screen? We use a framework called Question-Driven Development, or QDD. It's simple but powerful. You start with an end goal, you break it down into incredibly small questions, and you literally Google your way to success. This beautifully resembles how senior software engineers actually operate out there in the real world. You are finally taking control of the learning process by asking the questions yourself, rather than just sitting back and waiting for an instructor to spoon-feed you the answers.
Let's break down how we decompose a problem. Say you're building a palindrome checker. Your first step absolutely should not be going to YouTube and searching for a how to build a palindrome app tutorial. Instead, you take a step back, you break the app into tiny logic pieces, and you ask a highly specific question about string manipulation. A question like, how do I reverse a string in JavaScript? Now, that is exactly what you should be asking.
And this is a super crucial distinction. We have to search for specific micro-problems rather than big, general concepts. A poor search would be looking for a whole tutorial on building a card component. A good search? That's asking how to center a div vertically and horizontally, which, let's be honest, is a micro-problem literally every developer jokingly struggles with for their entire career. You find that specific answer, and then you force your brain to adapt that tiny snippet of code to fit your unique function.
Finally, Section 5, Breaking the Cycle and Escaping Tutorial Hell for Good.
Let's pull this all together. Here are the first 4 steps of a tactical escape plan. First, you learn the absolute basics for just 2 to 4 weeks. Then pick a small, specific project, break it down into tiny steps, and just begin. But honestly, the absolute most important step here is the third one. When you open that blank editor and inevitably freeze, your reflex is going to be to reach for a video. Don't do it. The framework suggests we actually just have to sit with the discomfort. I know it sounds crazy, but that messy, frustrating feeling, that is the exact sensation of your brain actively building new neural pathways.
Moving on to the final steps. When you inevitably get stuck, research the micro problem and solve it. And once you finally piece together a solution, don't just move on. Review it carefully. Ask yourself, could someone else actually read this code? Did I consider accessibility? And finally, share your project with a community to get feedback. Sharing is incredibly vital because it forces you to explain your underlying logic to other people, which completely locks in that positive feedback loop and really solidifies your new knowledge. Now, let's be totally realistic here. We are all going to borrow code from time to time, but there have to be rules of engagement. When you find a solution online, you have got to fight the muscle memory of hitting Control-C and Control-V. Seriously, type the code out manually, line by line. Ask yourself what every single parameter is actually doing. Modify it, experiment with it, break it on purpose, and then try to rewrite it from scratch completely from memory. This simple habit transforms passive copying into true active comprehension.
I want to leave you with this final, really powerful question today. Before you ever paste a snippet of code again, challenge yourself with this. Will copying this help me solve just this one problem, or will understanding it help me solve 1,000 future problems? You have to decide right now if you want to be just a code assembler, just kind of pasting together things you don't really understand, or if you want to be a true software engineer who deeply comprehends the tools they use. So embrace the struggle, close the tutorials, and go build something amazing.